And I guess really what drew me to the bridge building space in general was, and I think this is the same with a lot of people, was kind of the 2016 election. It was so contentious and so polarizing, and it seemed like every day, every soundbite, every news article was about how evil the other side was. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, the other side was like the personification of evil. And that just
Mm-hmm.
didn't sit right with me. That didn't seem honest. It didn't reflect how my relationships with people on either side of the political spectrum have been. And so I've just wanted to kind of, I guess, fight against that narrative ever since then.
Yeah, that's well, like you said, I think that's why a lot of people find themselves, you know, kind of dipping their toe into that depolarization pool, right? Because they see a lot of the ugliness that we see online. They see how polarized things are online, all the ugliness in our politics, in our media. They're like, this doesn't really completely and totally reflect what I'm seeing in real life in my circles. So I can only speak for myself, Stuart, but that's really one of the things with me is when I started to see not only what was going on online in the media, especially in our politics, I'm like, this does not reflect what I'm seeing in real life. But then what I started to see more and more often was people gravitating to that ugliness online, in the media, in our politics, and then it did start to affect their life and did start to affect things in real time in their circles of influence, in their communities, and I'm like something's got to be done about this. And so I love talking, I love having conversations with people in this space, Stuart, especially people who have made this, whether they make it an actual profession or it's just a passion project, a mission, something they do on a volunteer basis. Now, let me ask you this, Stuart: is now as the director of communications at LRC, what were you doing before this? Is this a side gig or is this your full time deal now?
I would love for it to become my full time deal. Right now, I work part time for LRC and I go to school. I'm at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And
Okay.
so I'm a political science student. So my work and my school kind of weave in and out of each other. It's kind of fun. You hear stories brought up in class about things like Braver Angels, or you hear about the Listen First Coalition. And you're like, oh, like my schooling and my work get to complement each other so well that it kind of feels like I'm doing it full time.
Yeah, I get that because I incorporate all the things that I do, my depolarization work, my work with Braver Angels, my work with the Pro Human Foundation. I incorporate all these different things into my everyday life. So as we weave these things together, it's often hard to see where one ends and one begins, or vice versa, right? Because I think when you get into this work, and this is what I want to dive into with you a little bit more, is as we get into this space, as we start doing this thing, it becomes infectious. It becomes one of these things where we're like, or at least it is for me, and I'd like to get your viewpoint on this. I start to see ways that I can incorporate the lessons that I learn in the depolarization work, in the depolarization space, into everything else that I do, and trying to influence people to see things not necessarily to, I'm not here to change minds. I'm here to open minds. And I think that's a lot of what this is, these conversations that we have in the bridge building space. It's about opening minds and showing people that there is a better way. There's a better way to have non-contentious conversations about contentious issues.